This is the intro we did for the show, but we're not musical, as you may know. So we'll keep it just for a bit, as we do have words that kind of fit. If you can, make a better one, send it in, and that'll be fun, because we'll use it, get everyone laughing, because this one is embarrassing. TJ, I thought you could dance at this bit.
No.
TJ, are you dancing?
No, I'm not.
So come along and watch us make some stuff and help you know that not much rhymes with draft will make game for a laugh.
Yeah.
Woo! Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Oh, we're not starting soon. We have started. Forget about that. This is professionalism at work. Welcome. We're Impact Gamers. We exist to inspire young people like yourself or like the children in your family to make computer games and use IT creatively, to use computers for good and not for evil.
Yeah, and to make positive games.
Yeah, that's it. There's loads of games out there that are absolutely fantastic, and we want to inspire you to make your own. And so we've got this website, igamers.io, and last week we completed the smash hit,
Yeah.
Where's Bear? And this game was based around an emotion of what, TJ?
Being lost.
Yeah. So we wanted to get the user to experience that. So if you go to igamers.io, you can see it takes a while to load because we used such high quality graphics.
Yeah. And it's also the first pseudo 3D game we've done on this series.
It is. Oh, did you hear the music change there? I'm getting closer to Bear. I'm not sure I'll find him in this few minutes. Oh, I'm getting really close. It'd be amazing if I find him. I'm excited. I'm not sure. I'm going to give up in a second. Anyway, we're not doing about being lost today, and I was getting too into that, guys. Where's Bear? You can play it along with the other games that we've been making at igamers.io, and you can find your bear. There we go. But today we're not doing about bears. We're doing about
priority.
There we go. What are we doing about, TJ?
Priority.
That scared me for a second then. I was like, who's the third person in the stream?
Priority.
Thanks for that, Google.
And if you want to say it slowly.
Priority.
Priority. Could you imagine writing the word like that? P-R-A-I-O-R-U-H-T-E. Priority. Anyway, it's not
glad we
like
don't
that.
have to spell that way around.
Yeah, no. It's just written P-R-I-O-R-I-T-Y. So priority, which means what, TJ? Let's see if you can read my screen.
It's what you put first.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I've just realised, yes, I weren't actually looking at this
there we go.
Screen then.
Go. It is the... Can you read that, TJ, from all the way over there in Halifax?
Fact or condition of being regarded or treated as more important than others.
The safety of the country takes priority over every other matter. That's a lovely use of the word.
Nice little
priority.
example there.
There we go. So we're going to make a game based around prioritising stuff, about treating the most important thing, treating the thing that's priority is more important than everything else. And as always, we will be using a Clickety Infusion. So I'm going to set up my workspace here. But while I do, I'm going to ask TJ the question. TJ, are there things in your life that you prioritise that are more important than other stuff?
Family. I'd say that's pretty high up there in terms of priorities.
Yeah, I definitely think you're I know from you care a lot about your family. Yeah. Prioritise that. And also, as soon as back in March, I remember you prioritising health and health of others. You social distancing and stuff, even before it was cool to socially distance.
Before we was told to.
Yeah. TJ was implementing it and making sure that here at Impact Gamers we were not sharing stuff. And so, we haven't had any cases of coronavirus because we've prioritised the safety of our staff and students. And it's also another reason why we're not open at the moment, because we want to keep you guys safe.
Yes.
So in this game we're going to be making it so things stack, because I think one thing about prioritizing is the reason that you prioritize stuff is to keep a firm foundation, to keep something in your life right that you can build other things on top. So like TJ caring about the health of others, if your health isn't right, then the fact of earning money or the fact of seeing friends or the fact of all those things, that's all affected by if your health isn't good. And so prioritizing your health, prioritizing your well-being, prioritizing those things are often things that we try and do as adults because we know what it can affect. And prioritizing, I'll tell you something I find hard to prioritize: cleaning your teeth. You know, it's something that if you don't prioritize that, you just say, oh, I'm a bit tired, I'm going to bed. That affects so many things: concentration, pain, money, stuff like that. Just so even though parents go on at you, clean your teeth for 3 minutes twice a day, they're just trying to get you to prioritize things that will make a big difference in your life. It's more important to clean your teeth than to get to bed on time. Let's say that. But don't take the mick. Don't clean your teeth for 45 minutes because
there might not be much teeth left.
exactly. Overbrushing is just as dangerous. Okay, so game back priorities. So we're going to have a stacking game, and we're going to work vertically. So I've set the aspect ratio. What's aspect, TJ?
I'm trying to think of a way of phrasing it.
Okay. I think the best way of probably comparing it is how wide to how tall something is. So, TJ, do you know any aspect ratios?
If it increased in one way, if you're going by the aspect ratio of it, then they would both increase by a set amount instead of it just being one size. They stick in proportion.
Yeah, so
to
TJ,
what it's been set as.
So, can you concentrate really hard and increase your aspect ratio? Do it now. Just concentrate. There we go. There's TJ increasing his aspect ratio there. Okay, and this is me not increasing my aspect ratio. That's me changing my aspect ratio. My width and height don't add up to the same amount. So this aspect ratio is 1:1. It's the width is the same as the height, and then high definition screens have an aspect ratio of 16:9. They're 16 units wide by 9 high. And back in the old days, arcade machines used to be 5:4 or 4:3, stuff like that. It's just two numbers, really. That's all it is. Two numbers that say how wide to how tall. And so I've set the aspect ratio 1:1, but I'm also going to grow the height much bigger. So we're going to do that in the frame editor. And so we're going to set the height, which is the second value. So you've got width and then height. And I'm just going to put a 2 in front of that. And you can see, there we go. There's our screen. And you can see our screen ends there on that line, but we've got all this extra screen to play with. Right, if we're going to stack things, what type of movement serves us best, TJ?
I'd say physics static.
Perfect. I would totally agree with you. So Click Team Fusion's got its movements built in, its properties window here, and under its movement we choose not static because that just stays where it is, but physics static, which means it doesn't move unless something pushes it, and gravity will push it. So physics static, it's important that the hotspot of your physical movement must be positioned at the center of mass. Anyway, it just means that this little eye, the hotspot, we never made a song to that, did we?
No.
Okay. Well, if you could make a song to Hotspot, TJ, in the next week, that would be great. That would be your homework. Get a little banjo out. The Hotspot. That needs to be in the center, and I can just press this G here, and it'll move it to the gravitational center. There we go. And also, it just show you I'm not sure you can see that. Let me just zoom in with the magic of magnifying glass. There we go. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So. That, if you can see it, there we go. That is the hotspot there. And if I was to cut a bit off here, if I was to rub a bit out, and then press the I, now I'm pressing the G at this point. It's changing it to where the gravitational center would be, where it would turn round if it was real life. If you were to just leave it spinning in space. Right, so let's put it back in the gravitational center, and there we go. And physics static. Now it also came up with an error there saying I haven't got something, I'm missing something in my frame, and that would be physics engine. Physics engine contains the rules for the game, which way the rules for the world, the movement rules for the world. So we want to move with gravity, so we leave the gravity set on, it's gravity 10, and if we run our application, we will see the block just falls down. There we go. There it is. we don't want to ever lose sight of what we're looking at in our game. It's a really bad idea to have your player leave the screen. And if we're stacking blocks, the blocks are our player in essence. So we're going to follow them. So we're going to do that with a condition, an always condition. So TJ, in terms of prioritizing stuff, we said like it's the foundation. It's the foundation that you often prioritize. The most important things you do first.
Yes.
Is there anything that you prioritize but you don't do first because you just don't like doing it?
Ooh. Do you know what? Yeah, because all right, so when I wake up, normally you think you need to get a good healthy meal into you.
Yep.
But I always go for a cup of tea first, and then sometimes I just want to sit and drink that and not do anything whilst I'm still waking up. And I'm quite lazy when it comes to that. So yeah, that's an example.
It's quite often admin work with me. Like for Impact Gamers, we have to sort out the finances and stuff. And I like making the games, but doing the finances sometimes I don't prioritize that. And so it's like homework. You know, you leave it to the last minute and then you have to stay up late and get it done, which isn't good advice, kids. If you can prioritize, if things need prioritizing, doing them first is so much better. Make you so much happier. So we have this.
And you can relax.
Yeah, you could chill out, have a cup of tea. So, TJ, what's happening here? Can you watch my screen? I think you'll know what's happening. But see the blocks falling, then it stays in the middle, and then it falls again. What's happening? I've got all this long screen. Why can't I see it just falling the whole way? So I've always set it to center on the block. But when I watch it back, it sticks in the middle.
So because we haven't got a background with anything on it, it's just a white plain background. It's a trick on his eyes. It actually is, the camera's following it, but because the background is plain, there's nothing to compare it to going past. If we had a background with patterns on, we'd be able to see the object is actually constantly falling. And then the camera gets stuck at the bottom of the screen, and when it stops, we can just see it leave. So it's just a trick on our eyes.
It is, yeah. Camera moving the same speed, exactly. So if we play it now with the backdrop, you'll see. There we go. Looks hideous, but you can see it's actually falling. Great, but it gets to the bottom and it keeps on falling. I'm going to sort out that hideousness of the background and make it a little.
It's one of the easiest things to change, and but if you want it to change and look nice, is a completely different story.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want it to look nice, don't get us to change your background. There we go. And those stripes are giving you a nice effect.
Now
right.
You can see it.
So it's getting to the bottom of the screen and it's keep on going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say a new condition. If it's position, we test the position, we get this grid. Now this grid is meant to represent our screen. And so we've got the frame area in the middle. And we want to say that if it goes off the bottom, it stops. Just the bottom. Now, in physics, you've got options of stop, we've got options of bounce. We haven't got options of bounce.
Because when it's physics, it removes it because the bounce goes based on your elasticity and all the properties options.
If we did want it to bounce, TJ's exactly got it right there. It's this elasticity. It's that thing above my head there. It's the elasticity.
I normally really struggle saying that word. I think that's probably the closest I've ever got to doing it. So I got lucky.
Oh, well, we could have Google help us, can't we? I spelt it wrong.
Elasticity.
There we go.
And you pronounce it elasticity. Elasticity.
Elasticity.
Elasticity. Okay. Right, fine. Well, that's fun. Learn to speak with Adam and TJ. So, because I've got zero elasticity, when it hits the bottom of the screen, it's just going to plonk down the bottom. Boop. There we go. Now, I think that's all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a second block just to watch that. So I want these blocks to stack on top of each other. So if we watch, they fall down.
Oh, wait a sec. Yeah.
You knew it was coming.
So we need to add a new rule.
Yeah, go on.
So currently there is no collision rule for the objects which are the same objects if they collide with each other, because you can have more of one of the same object. So we need a rule just to say if two of the same object collide with each other, they need to stop. And because it's physics, we don't need to say anything other than stop. They'll just apply with what the rules are.
Yay! And it's gone. There we go. Fantastic. That works brilliantly.
Boom, and the bug is gone.
I'll let you squish it. You ready? Nice. Yeah, it's working okay. We're having some stacking elements here. We haven't got any way of creating the blocks. They're just spawned at the beginning. They're just created at the beginning. But if we wanted to add another block, so if I'm going to clone this to make an evil twin, well, maybe not evil. So this is block 2. We'll set it to be a different color, just so you know. Now, if I run this, we're going to see that all of the options that I set for block 1 don't actually apply to block 2. So block 1 stops, block 2 just goes straight down the middle.
Yeah, so the properties will remain the same from when you clone it, but not the rules, because the rules are based on the set to a delegated object. So
exactly,
we have to now recreate them, unless we throw them into a group.
Good idea, Batman. Let's do that. So the blocks, if we started to add multiple different blocks, it would get really frustrating because we'd have to apply the rule for stopping, apply the rule for collision, and then if you had 3 blocks, then I think you have about 6 different ways they could collide. Is that 6, 3, 2, 1? Yeah, 6 different ways they could collide. So we'll just shove them in a group, like TJ said, and I'm going to select both of them by holding Shift. Shift is a magical button on your keyboard, like a giant up arrow that allows you to choose more than one thing at the same time. And we'll go into the events, qualifiers, and add a qualifier, which is a group. That's all it is. Let's find. These mean nothing. These are just names. They don't do anything until we tell them. So,
yeah, the reference is for you as the creator to go off. It's just a way of people organising things better. The computer doesn't actually treat them any different.
Obstacles? Does that, or 3D objects, or obstacles? What do you think?
Yeah, obstacles.
Obstacles.
Yeah.
Simple and classic, and it looks like a block.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got this block. Now I've learned a magic super trick. This is a super hack. Well, it's not a hack at all, because hacking is when you change other people's stuff. But this is just using what ClickTeam have given you. I found this, TJ. So if you started your game and you've started like all these rules and you're like, oh, I don't want to recreate them. If I right click on the block, I can replace it with another object. So I can replace it with another object, and I can replace it with the group. And if I do that, it changes every single reference in the code. Every time it talks about a block, it replaces it. So now,
awesome.
I've done all my coding for stacking those 3 different blocks. Yay! Oh!
That was close.
It was close. It was impressive how it fixed the other one as well.
Yeah.
So we need to work out sort of a way of building a level structure into this and having a block that the priority is that block, I don't know, has to fall in a certain zone, a certain height level, or a certain it has to not touch the ground or something, that you have to protect that block at all costs. But then adding more blocks gives you more points but makes the whole thing unstable. So I don't know what we want to do. Do you want to see out there in terms of throw it out into the world? Shall we set a height level that we have to get the block to, or shall we set the amount of blocks that need to be on screen that needs to be there, so that you can build a little tower base, or a time limit that you have to get this block onto the tower in a certain time limit? So what way are we going to do it? Because with prioritizing stuff, priorities wouldn't matter if there wasn't a time limit. It always comes down to a time limit or a financial limit.
That makes sense.
A limit of some kind. There has to be a limit. You know, if I had infinite amounts of money, it wouldn't matter what I spent my money on, because I'd still have money left. But because I don't, if I spend my money on the wrong things, then I don't have enough money to pay for the house, or I don't have enough money to pay for food. And you know, those, you need to prioritize those things. So so if we have an infinite amount of time, it doesn't matter what I do with my time. But because I do have an infinite amount of time, and not have an infinite amount of time. So yes. So if you want to find out, I'm just going to create a couple of different shapes of blocks while we get some responses. And I'm also going to maybe...
So this is where we need chat's help. So chat, send your ideas. How are we going to make the game? What mechanics are we going to use in order to, to win or earn points based on?
Yeah,
Are we going to have it where I think we should definitely keep for time based. Like you said, it's not a priority game if we don't have a time limit.
But
So how are we going to do it based on how many we have or get into a certain height?
Yeah, great. Okay, so let's change the color of this block as well. So yeah, prioritizing things is such an adulty boring thing, isn't it? Sort of like quite often you don't talk about prioritizing stuff unless it's stuff you don't want to do. So you never talk about, I'm prioritizing breathing today, unless unfortunately you have major health problems with your lungs. But sort of like we don't go, I'm prioritizing breathing, or I'm prioritizing sort of blinking today, making sure that I blink. But it's often,
I think in game making it's a very important lesson, isn't it? Because what we tend to do is we always leave our artwork till the end, because we prioritize the code first and creating the assets just so we can code them. But then apart from that, we don't really focus on artwork until near the end stages.
Yep. And it definitely is the fact that if you rush your artwork, you can get away with it. If you rush your code, that's when you get a whole load of these coming out on your screen. Yeah.
So we've got a suggestion for height of blocks.
Yep.
There's a classic game like that. I can't remember its name. You know what? I think I agree. I think I remember there being a game very similar to that in terms of we go based on height. But yeah, if we have a time limit and we go based on like the height, I think that would make a good game.
Fantastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do is for the height, I'm going to set a zone. So I might even use the alpha blending coefficient, which we use loads with the bear game, hence why we shout it out. So I'll make it slightly see-through so that we can have that. I'm just going to run my game just to check that everything behaves. That should all be in the same group. They should all behave the same way. We'll see. Yeah. Oh, check out that bounciness. Oh, we've lost a block en route.
Oh,
what happened to this dude? Block number 4. Where are you at?
Is it? Oh no, it's not. It's not the same width as the level, so
it's not catching on anything. I think it's this destroy of too far from frame. I think the issue is
it's starting
so far from where we're looking at that it's doing that. Let's just try that, see if that's fixed that bug. And while we watch these things fall from the sky, TJ, do you have a question?
I do. The question today is, what do you prioritize the most?
Oh, wait a minute.
I know it's quite a tricky question because there's a lot of things people would class as high priority. But if you had to pick one thing, what do you class as prioritizing the most in your life?
Yeah, very good. And a why, if you feel able to tell us why as well. Why do you think that thing's the most important thing?
Yeah.
So, and also, prioritizing is not loving or caring. So, you might love your parents or you might love your dog or something, but that's not prioritizing. If the fact you have to feed your dog, that's prioritizing. It's a task. It's not about a feeling. It's about something you have to do. If you have to prioritize who you love in your life, then you're probably living in an episode of a teenage novel. So don't worry about that. So it's just my views on life. Been watching a lot of Next Step recently, TJ. They always have issues with who they fancy. Right. So I'm going to have a priority block then. Okay. So I'm going to try and write that priority. And I'm going to have the priority block being the most unstable block. So the block with the most cutaway. Good. Great. So we need to choose an order that, or a control mechanism for this. So possibly that we have the blocks moving left and right and we press a button to drop them. Have you ever been to an arcade in the service stations where they have that dropper?
Yes.
And then you have to drop them on blocks on top of each other and then you can...
the electronic one where you press the button. Yes, I absolutely got addicted to one of them.
Yeah, yes. I'm not surprised. Well, in all fact, it's slightly rigged. Someone filmed it in slow motion, and on the last level where the block zooms back and forth, it actually skips a position so that your timing, you have to press it just before, because it goes, say if it's got like 8 slots, it goes 1, 2, 3, 5, sort of like, and misses out one of the blocks. So you can do it, but if you're counting the rhythm, it doesn't play smoothly. So yeah. Anyway,
That is. I feel like that day was wasted. Now I know it was rigged.
do you know what? Even if it wasn't rigged, if you didn't win, it was probably a wasted day, TJ. I'm sorry to say. Okay, so we're going for a height limit. So we've got this thing, and I'm going to just name this height zone.
One of our answers in the chat is I prioritize occupying myself on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, it's really important during lockdown to prioritize your own well-being. Like just not health. I know we spoke about health, like teeth and not feeling sick, but there's lots of other parts of well-being, isn't there, TJ?
Oh yeah, if you know, occupying yourself is important because it distracts you from just other things you're not able to do during this.
That is. It's a very loud motorbike by you, TJ.
Yeah, there's a few going around. It's like the sun's out, so now there's quad bikes everywhere. I don't understand.
Well, I think you do understand, but you just don't agree. just being grumpy and old, and also safety
do not
conscious.
compute.
Just safety conscious. It's not safe to ride. So okay, we'll get this dropping mechanism working. All I've done is I've set a path, but I've chosen two specific options which are really useful in the path. I chose these two, which is loop the movement and reverse at end, which means that it will go on forever, but it won't go on forever just moving. It will go back and forth. So I'm also going to move my blocks out of the way, and I'm gonna put them over here. We'll need to form a next block. Do you know in Tetris in the top corner, it will tell you what block is coming next, so you can plan. We'll need to add that in maybe next Wednesday, this Wednesday, the next session, so that we can see. Right. Okay. So. Yes, just remember. Oh, the chocolate challenge. I never told you, but today's chocolate challenge is brought to you by. You could win the Milky Bar.
Ooh!
And it is our number one. Milk is our number one ingredient in Milky Bar. You might think it's bars, but no, it's milk. There you go.
Nice.
There we go. So just remember that, and just remind you of the chocolate challenge question, TJ.
So just as a reminder, what do you prioritize the most? I will even type it in chat in case we've got any latecomers today.
Yeah, there we go. So this is moving back and forth, this active doobry, and I want to say that when you press a button, should we do spacebar? Does that seem like a sensible thing? Probably. Let's say upon pressing a key, spacebar, we will create, and we're going to create just the normal block. And we will create it wherever this thing is. Okay. Now, I've got a little bit of a logic issue here. I say always center the display on the obstacle. Now, it will center them just on the last obstacle that is created from its memory. So we need to actually work out which one it should be following. So I'm going to put in, on all of these blocks, I'm going to put in one of our flags. Now, flags are a special useful thing. TJ, how would you describe a flag?
So a flag is like a switch. It has a way of being on or off. That is probably the simplest way I can think of describing a flag.
It is totally that. So on or off, often in more advanced coding, they will call it true or false. But yeah, on and off is exactly what Clicked Infusion does with it. So we will say a new condition that if a block, oh no, we've got them here, leaves the bottom, we are going to turn on one of its flags. Its flag we're going to set on called untouched. And then we're going to, I've called it the wrong thing. I want to call it touched, maybe. Touched, hit or something. Well, we've called it untouched. I want to just know if it's hitting something. What's the right way of phrasing that? Hit? I don't know. I'm hit. Help me. No, that's not useful as a program. As a programmer, we'll call it touched, meaning it's touched something else. And so if it's not on, it's not touched. So we want to say always insert if a block, its flag is off, touched, then center it on that. But we'll delete this as well. And what we'll have to do for the moment, we'll have to, these things will delete. But I will lose them. If I delete them now, I'll just lose it forever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a special condition called never. Now this rule will never happen, but it allows things to be stored in the computer's memory. So I'm going to say never create block, and never create block 2, and never create them. And that just keeps it in its memory that there they are, being stored in the creative memory, but not actually.
Yes.
Actually
Also, with it hitting past, Max, you have won the challenge.
Yay,
so
woo!
if you message the Impact Gamers
you just claim your prize.
page, just claim your prize. Just
Yeah,
message, make sure we've got your address so we can send it out.
If you haven't changed address since last week, you'll be fine.
Then
And
you're fine.
if you want us to send this to a friend of yours or a family member, just give us your address and they will get sent the chocolate on your behalf. So well done, TJ, for actually spotting the time. I'm going to delete these and we will just check to see how well this works. Also, I'm going to say that that we will have an issue with our game. We've got the dropper happening here, but when we drop, there we go, we drop the block, it follows it, hits the bottom. We can't. It needs to go back to watch the stopper at the top, because I'll press it again, but we can't see. Maybe I think the one thing that we could do is we could have the stopper visually represented at the bottom as well. So what we'll do is we'll add in. I know it's after past, but I'm sure you'll be fine. We're just going to add in this. We're going to call it follower. And we're going to choose a very interesting option called follow the frame. Follow the frame means that it will stay in the same place even if the frame moves. So, if it's not following the frame. So it's there. You can see it will stay there. So all I'm going to do is set a new always, because I lost my last one. Always. Set the X coordinate, X meaning left and right, X coordinate this to match up with the value, the position, the X coordinate of that. Let's see if that works. And we will drop down and that. Ooh, interesting. We've hit a bug. Now, TJ, I know what's happening here. It's the fact that path movement is stopping when you're not looking at it. So path movement is an interesting movement to save memory. If you can't see the character that has path movement, it doesn't
acts like it's not there.
Yeah. So we'll have to change it from path movement to a bouncing ball movement or something else that doesn't have that issue to fix that bug. Thank you all for watching. I hope you prioritize your well-being of yourself and those around you. And I hope you have a lovely sunny afternoon. TJ will now make up something inspirational to end the show with once again.
I think you pretty much used what I would have said.
Oh,
but it is a nice day, so make the most of it, but still prioritise your safety if you are going to be going out and enjoying the weather.
Bye! This is the intro we did for the show, but we're not musical, as you may know. So we'll keep it just for a bit, as we do have words that kind of fit. If you can, make a better one, send it in, and that'll be fun, because we'll use it, get everyone laughing, because this one is embarrassing. TJ, I thought you could dance at this bit.
No.
TJ, are you dancing?
No, I'm not.
So come along and watch us code, make some stuff, and help you know that not much rhymes with draft will make game for a laugh.